In death, there was nothing. In death, there was only the endless void, empty save for oneself, as dark as a starless night sky. But there was no more pain, no more sorrow, and the void being the only companion now. I don't mind it, for I couldn't remember how I've gotten here, how this void had come to be, but I still remembered the echo of pain, a betrayal that I so desperately wanted to escape from. No matter how hard I tried, I could not recall what it had been. But even so, I was now revealed that I did not have to feel such things anymore. That in the empty space, there was no more pain. And staring out into the darkness, I found that darkness begin to stare back. Nothing rang, an echo that filtered through the nothingness. It sounded familiar. That cry, a cry of anguish, a bitterness that I could almost taste on the non-existent tongue. It was a sound that only grew louder, a scream. That was what it was, though I was not sure how I knew that. Now I knew that the sound was full of such pain. Was there another beside me inside this void? The scream halted with the echoed hiss, as if a fire had been extinguished, and now only the ashes remained. The sound was replayed with a voice, a muttering that grew louder, though it only spoke a single word, a name I felt as though I should remember, something that struck familiar with me. That voice was much softer than that scream, a voice that beckoned me further into the endless void, a sound that pulled at my heart in a different way that had screamed before. That scream. Come with me. Come with us. Away into the emptiness. Become who you have always wished to be. Nothing, I said towards the darkness. I wish to be nothing. We can cure it. Cure what? I asked. We can cure your hatred, your despair. What despair? The scream echoed again, ringing throughout my ears. Something twisted low in my gut at the gruesome sound. You didn't have to listen to that screaming anymore. I didn't want to. I hated the sound. But it returned, a begging, pleading, and horrific sound that seeped into my skin, my bones, and into my very soul. It begged, leave the pain behind. But the darkness beckoned to bring me into nothing as I longed to feel pain again. Pain had been the issue in the life I had had before. Though I could not remember why, but the pain it was horrible. So horrible that when the darkness swept me away, I was revealed, and yet the scream shouted something, the plaguing noise begging me to listen, not to the dark, but to the scream itself. Why did the scream want me to experience pain again? I did not want that. Yes, the void seemed to whisper, leave it all behind. But why does the scream beg? Why did it ask for me to stay, not to venture into the dark? Because it was evil, the sound of a demon. A pause in which I frowned, as that sentence simply did not sound right. Something was off about it. It had to be a lie. Demons were not evil. Escape your pain. I had never known what it was like to have no pain, to be unleashed. It felt forbidden to me. To have that freedom, that shackles of the past life removed, a life that held no such pain that consumed me now. But there, in the midst of it all, there was moments that did not wallow to sorrow, that anguish. Moments that struck something so deep within me. Moments that brought my mind back to the scream. A sound that was slowly fading, growing quieter, and quieter. I didn't want it to fade. The pain was a part of me, was a companion that I had grown so used to. Without it, who would I become? If I ventured off with the beckoning emptiness, what would I find, if not pain? The screaming grew ever so slightly. A demand, a name, it began to scream, so familiar. Demons are not evil, not at all. A voice in the void crackled, with golden light flickering it, like a sun breaking through the clouds. A golden glow that sparked a fire from underneath me, a demand that I rise. But the screaming, ignore the scream. Come into us, the ageless dark, to find peace. I did not want peace. I didn't want to feel no pain, because through pain there had been joy, the tiny glimpse of it that the light revealed to me. To feel no pain, I would not have to find the golden joy. I would not feel anything if it weren't for that pain. I had been born into the pain, into a world full of it, a world that also beckoned me back, a scream that called for me, begged for me. The darkness had nothing, but something in the terror of yelling. I found that to be the most comforting thing of all, the familiarity, because I deserve pain, and to leave it all behind would be the work of a coward, to abandon the one who screamed in the world of pain. I could not leave him. That light grew brighter with every passing second, the whispering drowning out the screaming. Let me help you, I told the scream. Let me come back. Let me take on the burden of your pain. The void halted in its whisper. I followed the pain, down that golden line of light, until it struck my skin. Bring me back. The scream echoed on the phantom wind, even as I called back. Back to somewhere I was not entirely sure of. That the echo of it rung through me so thoroughly that I almost believed it to be real. Such anguish in that sound. Slowly my eyes opened, eyes that felt new, raw and reborn. As I took in a night-veiled forest above, a blanket of stars and a deep blue sky, I inhaled sharply, something in the back of my mind screaming at me, a nagging sensation as to how I'd gotten here. But as I breathed, I noticed then the lack of pain. Nothing, as if my body had been created into something new. Had I died? A golden light flickered above me, and I strained my eyes upon two flames. No, not flames. Eyes. Glowing golden eyes, narrowed as they peered down at me. The voice in my head began screaming at the sight. At the tattooed face, every line of his features tightening as he stared at me, waiting for something. I frowned up at him, studying the pink hair, the ragged breaths. Ian, he said, the voice inside my head quiet at the words, and his voice, as if the name he'd spoken had some sort of meaning. When I didn't respond, he tried again. Ian? His voice was so delicate, so velvety that my new skin became washed in goosebumps. Again, a scream echoed in my mind, pondering against the gates of my mind. Something about him that another part of me raging against. No, not against. The voice in my head urged me forward, towards him. Do you? Something in his eyes flickered, eyes glowing golden. Upper 3, they read. A strange feeling arose at the sight, a tingling in my chest. What did it mean? Do you remember me? He asked. I stared and stared at him, into his eyes that held the most warmth in the forest of cold. He'd asked if I remembered him. That voice in my head was quiet, as if silenced by a visible force, a tug on a bond. I did not know who this man was. No, not a man. Something other, something powerful. Perhaps I really did die. Perhaps that golden of death had come to wish me an eternity of a new realm within darkness. Perhaps he took on this form, showed me this forest because it had meant something to me once, something that still nagged at me. Screaming, I said aloud, cautiously scanning that honed body, the eyes laced with worry, hope, and something else I couldn't place. The pink-haired other tilted his head in question. You were screaming? I wasn't sure how I knew, but I did. In another life, another dream he was raging and yelling at haunted me, swung to me, pegged me. Why did you scream? I asked. His lips parted, his face unreadable, all except for the sight wine in his eyes. You do not remember what happened. I frowned, opening my mouth to respond, but his eyes never left my own, not even for a moment. I couldn't bring myself to look away either, as if that part of me demanded that I look into them. A flesh of a room painted red. Bodies, ruined bodies, ripped apart upon the wooden floor. Then eyes that glowed the same way they did his. Only red like the feeling growing within me. Rage. Anger. The vision vanished, but the feeling remained. A bitterness, the feeling of losing, the loss of something important. Or maybe some things. Perhaps from the life before I had been remade, created once again. Monsters are made, never born. That voice in my head whispered. The other me before. He thought as if himself as a monster. Why? Why did I know that it wasn't true? Demons were not evil. A demon. Demons. Demons are the unfortunate, but the unlucky fate bestowed upon them. By him. Red eyes growing with irony. Skin as pale as no little moonlight. I took in a breath. The Demon King. Something rotten inside my gut at that reconnection. Something that burned red hot in my veins. Hate. Hate towards him. The demon before me with the one golden eyes stared down at me, his hands open and closed repentantly, as if debating whether or not to touch me, to reach me. Another memory. One of blue-tipped hands exploring me, exploring my skin. Akaza. That was his name. I wanted to whisper it, have it said out loud, for he hung his head, shoulders loosening as a choked sound fell out of him. The sight made me angry. Not the same way the Demon King did. No, I was angry because I couldn't stare to see Akaza like this. I reached a tentative hand towards where his own fist on his pants, knuckles showing. I brushed my own fingers over his tensed hands. I think I'm in love with you. I shuddered. I loved him. I loved Akaza. And he loved me. His golden eyes turned to me. Eyes wide, full of relief. Upper 3, his rank amongst demons. Demons who ate and killed people. A bloody smile flashed in that memory of red room. My heart shattered in my chest. My sister, my family, turned into utter ribbons by a demon. No, the Demon King, who had targeted my family because of a rare blood that ran within it. Because my father. What had happened in that room? Akaza, I whispered. I remember He was instantly closer. He gently pulled me into his lap, cradling me in his arms. I got us out, he said, his other hand going to grip my own. Kimiko. My voice was rasped in a question. For the first time, Akaza tore his gaze from my own. I'm not dead, am I? I asked. No. His response was quiet as the forest around us. I was not dead. I was alive. And Akaza was here. We'd gone out. But my sister, the rest of my family and my estate had been murdered. My mother, a demon, who was used the love of my father to get what she wanted most. Power. And she got it. So thoroughly that I had raged, had thrown myself at her with no hope of ever surviving the encounter, hoping that I could take her on into the afterlife. A sword raised above her panicked face, a sword I plunged down. You killed her. My breath caught in my throat. What? Akaza's face was full of anguish as he turned back to me. You took off her head with your sister's sword. I shook my head. You don't remember what happened next because you were gone. Akaza muttered. The forest went dead silent, as if even the wind halted its streak through the trees to listen. I let my demon continue. My demon. The one knew I'd given up everything for. Uzanki Butsuchi, he began. He got a hold of you. I waited for the rest, but Akaza's throat bobbed, his gaze shuddering. He did. Why am I not dead? Akaza shook his head. Because he wanted to do something far worse to you. I sat up then, my heart pounding in my chest. He wanted to turn me into a demon. Akaza's head fell, eyes closing. There was more. Something more. Every thought flew over my mind as I realized. After long minutes of silence, I whispered. He succeeded. Didn't he? Akaza's body shook, rage filling every word as he spoke. I broke free from him because I couldn't stand to see you becoming something like that. Something like him. Like me, he growled. But I was too late, even after launching myself at him. A gasp reaching for him. You broke free? Not only that, he tried to kill the one who had held onto his leash for decades. Akaza frowned, turning towards me. You. That is what you care most about? Not about the fact that you're... He gestured down at my body. A demon? I whispered, finishing for him. The one thing Akaza had promised I would never become, because he would rather die than make me lose my humanity. His eyes burned like a living flame. I wanted to kill him for turning you. His voice broken as a sob. A sob cracked free. Again, I paused, now immortal heart flooding with dread. But he allowed me to fly at him, to rage against him because he had won. The bastard won because he had succeeded. Another breath of silence from both of us. He told me that his plans was to make you into a demon, to create you as a weapon no other could challenge. A shake of his head, I shuddering. And he did. Akaza clenched through his teeth. He did, and before I could even get close enough to harm him, despite being free of his hold on me, he vanished. Something about his words settled into me. That Muzan had made me into an immortal demon, and that now, even though I had risked everything for Akaza to break free from him, the king still had a grip onto my own soul, a replacement for losing Akaza. My demon stared and stared at the mossy ground beneath us, his chest rising and falling with even every breath. I was now a weapon made for the Demon King, an eye for an eye, a soul for a soul, losing Akaza, only to gain me in return. Okay, so I lied. I would not be finishing Akaza and Rengoku this week. Oops, it's gonna be next week because I calculated wrong and I have something to do Saturday and Sunday. So, oops. But I hope you guys enjoyed Akaza. And after Akaza has 2 more chapters, we're going to be finally making it to Shinobu. So you Shinobu fans will finally have her back. But just to let you know, after finishing Shinobu, I will probably take a week break because I still have to finish my My Hero Academia story. And then we're going to go on to some other fandoms. And just like I said before, if you haven't heard, I am doing other fandoms, but depending on which one you pick, will probably either A, be 1 episode or around 10 because there are some fandoms and authors that I do not, how do I put this? Don't agree with. I'm just going to say that because I don't want you guys to yell at me, okay? But anyways, I love you all so much. Bye, lovelies. Mwah.